Good morning to all three of you who have caught us on this very, very impromptu live stream. Obviously, we're a little bit off in terms of our usual time slot. We usually do these UK time in the evenings, but we had a few cheeky little reveals that we thought were worth talking about. So we've got together. Sadly, James Roebuck with Collects can't be with us this morning, but he will probably be watching on from the ether. And I dare say that he'll have some thoughts on some of these reveals as well to share with you when we come together for our next live stream, which will be the sequel trilogy wishlist, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. But I am, of course, joined, as always, by the man, the myth, the legend that is Daniel East 1000. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Check, check. Mic check. Are we all good?
Yes, we're all good. We can hear you loud and clear. Sorted.
Lovely.
Yeah, we're just going to cut to brass tacks this morning, guys. It's literally just a case of just getting down into it. There's nothing to talk about in the way of recent pickups or anything like that, because it's literally been about 2 days since our last stream, which is unusual. Like it's weird. We're doing it so that we're like there's just one stream after another at the minute, whereas before we were going pretty like long gaps in between. But now it's just like there's just so many schedules, so many coming up.
No breathing space. No breathing
There literally
space.
isn't.
We're
There
busy
literally
boys.
isn't. But I am here for it, so it's all good. We have got some guys in the chat, though, as always. Some of the usuals are here. Collect Cove, good morning, sir. Jake is with us. Good morning, Jake. How you doing? Luke and Matt from Twin Sons Collecting is with us as well. Good morning. So let's dive into it. Like I said, we're just going to cut to the chase and get on with some of the reveals that we got in the week, because Hasbro Pulse did, of course, do a fan stream where they shared some pretty tasty stuff, and I've got to say a lot of it caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting it. Now, whether or not some of this was pipelined and I just missed it, or whether it's just that it wasn't sort of pre-announced, but there was some stuff there that I was like, okay, yeah, you're cooking.
Yeah.
Let's have it. So we'll dive right into it. Go on, I think you have some thoughts.
Well, it was just... I know there was that leaked list of like rumoured stuff for Vintage Collection and Black Series. I thought that was stuff that they were going to reveal at Celebration as a big, like, boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the vibes that I was getting from that stream. It was very sort of event-esque. You know, It was almost like some of the stuff that they announced and some of the stuff that they didn't announce that we'll get to towards the end of this show. It just felt like, you know, it was a big sort of fanfare around it. It was really weird.
If that's what they've just announced for a petty little live stream like that, what are they going to announce at Celebration for us to talk about? Because
exactly.
Oh, juicy.
Yeah, exactly. To be fair, it's shaping up in terms of Star Wars collecting. It's shaping up to be a pretty bloody good year. So yeah, we're cooking. So let's dive into it, and we'll, of course, being a predominantly 6-inch stream. We do like a girthy 6 inches on these shows, as you all know. We'll dive into Black Series first, and we'll touch on this juicy little number. Ezra Bridger from Ahsoka. Now, I think we knew that this was coming. Some of us probably more than others, because I was I was in the chat for Out of the Basement's Lazy Sunday live stream the other day when the parts for this figure were leaked, and we got the sort of unpainted head sculpt for Ezra that was leaked amongst those leaked images, and I was like, that doesn't really look like Ezra to me. Pretty sure that's going to be Kyle Katarn. And I was ripped to shreds. And you know what? I'll take it. I'll take my punishment because I was obviously wrong. But I don't know. The unpainted likeness didn't really look like Ezra. But now seeing it in situ, it's like, I've got to say, this is probably one of the best likenesses that Hasbro have done for Black Series.
It's incredible what paint does to a figure, because when you look at a head sculpt, like you said, it could be anyone.
Yeah.
But adding that paint really does give it life. This was a figure that I knew obviously we were going to get. We were obviously going to get an Ezra figure from Ahsoka in his Jesus look.
Yeah.
But I didn't expect it to be as good as this. I don't know why. I thought this was going to be a really... Yeah, I'm going to get it. It'll be fine on the shelf. Is what it is. But the detail, the amount of like sculpted stuff, it's one of those where they've really looked at the homework, like the research, the homework, and just cooked with it. Like, I love the amount of sculpted work. You've got his chainmail, even the shoulder pad that I didn't even notice, really. It's just little details that when you watch the show, you don't really absorb. And that's why I like that. This is one of the many things I like about collecting, is the fact that when you get a figure like this, it makes you step back and actually appreciate the costume design that's gone on to the on-screen thing. I love it. It's a must.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that one, to be fair. I mean, it's like you said, like, some of the details that you miss when you see like, when Ezra popped up in Ahsoka, I'm not going to lie, like, I was a little bit like, oh, okay, that's how he looks, is it?
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting the ensemble, you know. So I was a bit, I'll not say underwhelmed, but I wasn't expecting him to look the way he did.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where, like, the costume looked a little bit generic, a little bit a little bit dull, a little bit average. But like you said, seeing it brought to life in action figure form, it breathes new life into it, and just some of those little details that you might have either missed or not appreciated when you saw it on screen are present and available here, and it's really, really good. And like you said, like the sculpted detail and just the overall, just everything that's gone into this one just looked absolutely phenomenal. It looks, and you throw this phrase around, and I especially, I tend to find myself doing it in my reviews, is I'll say that a figure looks like it's jumped out of the screen and onto the shelf. This is the epitome of that for me. It's such a beautifully sculpted figure. Like I said, the likeness is bang on. It's just absolutely phenomenal. It's really, really good. This is a really good example of some of Hasbro's best Black Series work, I think.
What would have been the cherry on the cake for me, though, is if they included the Naughty. Although, to be honest, if they release a 2-pack with them, I'll be as happy as a pig in shit, because I need them little guys on my shelf. I need them little dudes.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? But I think, I mean, accessory wise, it comes with the lightsaber, which is again, like, really nicely crafted, really well sculpted. I love that. That's something that I probably didn't appreciate as much when I saw it on screen, was the fact that just how closely to Kanan's lightsaber Ezra's new one resembles. It's like it's very, or is it? Am I missing something? Is it? It's not Kanan's lightsaber, is it?
The part of it is, or at least it was a part that, because Hu Yang mentions that he held a piece back for Kanan.
That's right. Yeah, I was going to say, don't all attack me. I haven't watched Rebels or Ahsoka in a while, so it's it's one of those things. But no, it just comes with everything it needs to come with. It looks how it needs to look, and I mean, I didn't pick up the original Ezra from Ahsoka, where he's got a costume on that much more closely resembles his attire from Rebels, because I just didn't think it was different enough from his Rebels look, if that makes sense. So I was just like, yeah, well, it's one of those. Like you said, I'll pick it up when I pick it up. But this one, I think to be fair, all of these Black Series reveals, I mean, we only got 3, but all of them are instant pre-orders for me.
For sure.
They are available now. I'll just emphasise that as well. They are available for pre-order if you're in the UK, over at staractionfigures.co.uk, and there is a link down below in the video description where you can grab these for yourself. But yeah, I think Ezra, absolute winner. Really, really cool to see. We knew it was coming, but to see it materialise is next level. Very, very, very cool indeed. So I'm very happy with this one. Very, very happy indeed. We've got some more guys joining us in the chat. Boneswiz is with us. Good morning from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Gentlemen, you guys are quickly becoming my favourite YouTube channel. Oh, cheers, mate. I appreciate that. Very, very cool to hear. And we have got the legends themselves are in the chat, out of the basement. Morning, gents. We got some solid reveals in this stream. SM33 stole the show for me. Do you know what? Same. I didn't catch the stream live, but looking back through the pictures, I was like, I saw a couple that got thrown around. We'll throw it to SM now, actually, while we're on the subject. I saw a couple of images floating around, and I thought, I don't know, there's something that looks a little bit off with it. And I think it's because I'd seen the images of it with the shortened legs.
Yeah.
And I thought, that just doesn't look right. I don't know, it just seemed off. And then going through the other images that came up, I was like, hang about. It does things.
Yeah.
It does things, and
It does
like
a lot of things.
It does a lot of things. So scrolling through some of those images, I was like, okay, this might be potentially one of Hasbro's best droid figures ever made. And I'm going to let you take the floor with this one for a little bit, Dan, because I think you know a little bit more about this one than I do.
Well, I was sat watching the live stream. Granted, it was on mute because I should have been doing... I was doing work. I just had it on in the background. And I was catching bits, when they were showing it off. And like you said, in the squatted position, something was a bit weird, because I always see SM33 as this big, towering brute. I did kind of, again, it's another thing with Ezra where you kind of forget some of the details until you get it in figure form, because SM33 does have that ability to readjust his whole posture.
Yeah.
Because usually he's hunched over and hobbling about, and then when he's in attack mode, everything extends. And I love that they've included that. The little shield arms as well, the little gauntlets that you can attach. And I think the most impressive detail of all is the fact that you can remove the back of the head and you can slot in the little mouse.
That's
a little rodent thing.
I missed that. I didn't even see that in the images, so that's really, really cool to know.
And you can push it, you can just kind of push it out the eye. It's in the box. It's very small, so, be careful when you're opening that boy up. But this one for me just absolutely stole the show.
Yeah.
All the reveals were amazing. Even the vintage collection ones, I'll be honest. But this one was particularly this is when Hasbro does good, proper good. I think it's like what we said about droids. It's just such an untapped market, and the fact that you've got all these abilities to have removable panels and things like that you can incorporate, see the inner workings. While that doesn't have it, it's got all these extra features to the character that we see in the show that I can't see them making anything better. If they were ever to redo it, I can't see them being able to, because they've nailed it.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's set a standard for droids going forward. I don't think there's very few droids in Star Wars that probably share this level of detail anyway, other than, we mentioned it in the original trilogy live stream that we did. I think one of your honourable mentions was FX6, FX7, whichever one it was, the medical droid, FX7. And that's a pretty detailed little number. So I think something like that would potentially rival this in terms of detail. But I think, just like you said, with the wires and the Ronin and the shields and just everything that's gone into this one is just... This, to me, is the equivalent... It's the sort of... I'll not say full size, but, proportion-wise, it's the equivalent of the new R2-D2 for me, because they just packed so much detail into that one. I just feel like they've gone that extra mile with this figure as well. I think, like you said, it's just the wires, the kit, just everything is really good. Now,
if I'm not I'm going to mention as well, while we're on accessories, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't it come with a display stand?
That's what I was just about to ask.
Because I had it on mute, and
Yeah, I saw it in the images. Maybe someone in the chat can enlighten us, but I saw it in the images because obviously he's got the peg leg. So he's going to need that additional stability in terms of being able to stand up. So logic would dictate that hopefully it comes with a display stand, which is something that they experimented with a few years ago, didn't they? They put out those little triangular display stands.
So weird.
Yeah, we're weird, and I'm not going to lie, a little bit shit. But they tried it, and it was very, very short lived, and then we never saw it again. And it's almost as though, well, actually, no, we could do with more of that. And I think this figure definitely indicates that it warrants it, it needs it. And I think, if it doesn't, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. It's got to.
I'm pretty sure, because it was just a little round thing. It's not much to pack in.
If it doesn't come with it, it's gonna be missing it because I just can't imagine this one's standing up very well on shelf without it. So hopefully we get it. Like I said, someone in the chat might be able to enlighten us and caught the stream with the sound on. But I'm pretty sure it's got to be there. But it's just such a well done figure. Matt's commented in the chat saying it reminds him of the 30th anniversary 3PO with the pop out eye. That's the vibes I'm getting, and I think in terms of that level of detail, this now says to me, like I said, it set the standard in terms of droids going forward. But this to me now says, okay, get to work on a naked 3PO. I'll take your SM-33 and I'll raise you a Phantom Menace C-3PO because that's the one I want to see. That's the one I really want to see. I can't believe I didn't actually pick that for my prequel wish list.
Yeah.
But that's by the by. But no, absolutely phenomenal figure. Like I said, initial images, I was a bit thrown off. Didn't think it looked that good. But then scrolling through them, I was like, okay, this is money. This is really good. Really, really good. I'm thrilled with it. I think it looks mint.
Yeah. I'm so glad that I've got all the other Skeleton Crew characters as well now, because that's just going to accompany them so nicely.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because I've held off on the Skeleton Crew stuff for now, just because I can't, because my Black Series display is so tightly packed.
Yeah,
I can't picture anywhere in it that I'd house the Skeleton Crew. So I've been holding off, but now that this guy completes the roundup, I mean, I've got Brutus. I've thrown him in with my Mandalorian setup because he's just too cool a looking figure. And I'll be definitely getting this one. Whether or not I pick up the rest of the crew is irrelevant because this figure just looks very, very cool on its own. But like you said, I think to have that entire lineup will just be something else. And Matt has commented in the chat actually. The Skeleton Crew figures are currently discounted at In Demand Toys if anybody still needs them. Ooh. So head over there and check them out if you haven't done so already. Winner. Absolute winner. Like I said, I think all of these Black Series reveals that we got in the week just absolutely slap. And my favourite one of the three, I've got to say, it might be the most underwhelming for some, but for me, I was like, okay, now we're talking. Like, this Night Trooper is just so goddamn cool. This is something I've wanted to see materialise in action figure form since the Death Troopers novel that came out years ago.
Yeah.
Like, just the concept of it to me has always been so insane. So to see it realised as an action figure is just so, so cool. I loved the Night Trooper and Captain Enoch 2-pack. So to see that getting built out is so cool. And to see, again, going back to what we were saying with SM-33 and with Ezra, level of detail is just absolutely mad. I noticed a lot of people were commenting on this one saying that it looks a little bit bloated and it looks a little bit like what's he been eating? But like human bodies do that. So it's just little details like that. It's like the decomposition and
it looks really gnarly. I love something that I was really surprised about was the fact that they did include a bit of that zombified head. I don't know why. I feel like when it comes to the horror portion of Star Wars, Hasbro kind of shies away from it a little bit. Yeah, I don't know why. I always get that feeling they do.
I think they just like to play it a little bit safe, don't they? I mean, I get it to a degree because this is it's fucking terrifying. It's like it's like you said, it's gory, it's gnarly, it's grim.
Yeah.
But there's just something so cool about it, and I think if this had have come out, if they'd have just stuck a full Death Trooper helmet on this and not had the head underneath exposed, I think it would have been a little bit
underwhelming, wouldn't it?
Yeah, there'd have been like everybody would have said, well, there's a bit of missed potential there. But this is everything. Like when you saw this character on screen, you were like, okay, that's going to make a cool action figure, but it'll never happen. So to actually see it is like, okay, and I'm down for that. I'm probably down for a couple of these, to be fair, because this just looks unreal. I absolutely love it. It's so good. Tesco Falco has joined us in the chat. Why is he so chunky for a zombie Death Trooper? Well, like we said, Tesco, human bodies tend to bloat from gases and build up and all that sort of stuff. You'll find out when you die. It's just what happens. It's just what happens. And I think that, like I said, it threw me off initially. when I saw it, I thought, proportion-wise, it doesn't look that great. It looks a little bit off. But it makes sense, and it's again, just a little detail like that works so well and works in its
Yeah.
favour, because it's like, yeah, that's what would happen. I think if there was a lot of potential there for this figure, for them just to add a little bit of new sculpting to the existing Death Trooper figure, which I think is still in its own right a fantastic
Oh
Black
yeah.
Series figure, but it's starting to show its age a little bit. So to get a brand new sculpt, all those extra details, like I said, the helmet as well, the exposed head underneath, it's a really, really pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
And I just think it just works so well.
I think as well in terms of posing it, the bloatedness will probably be, you can look past that when you get it in that
Yeah.
shambling pose, because they've kind of got it in a bit of a standard, like, action figure pose there.
Yeah, it's when they're all
Yes,
like,
you kind of needed them just to pose it up a bit more, like,
that's one of my favorite. That's one of my
decrepit.
favorite things about the Night Trooper from that Enoch 2-pack, is that you can pose it and have it that, like, all the articulation that they've packed into it is just so good that you can get it in such a. I've got mine on my shelf, and
Yeah.
it's like, he's lunging forward, and it's just so unique, and it's so unusual, and it's unlike anything else that we've got in our action figure displays. So I am totally here for this. I mean, we've said, like, yeah, Ezra's fantastic. SM-33 is an amazing figure because droids are underrepresented, but this is just so unusual, and it's so
Yeah.
different, and that's what I love the most about it. So I am absolutely buzzing to get this in the collection.
I just hope we get more Night Troopers, because I'd love a Stormtrooper with just the plain white helmet and some crackage going on, and
Yeah,
just some diversity.
yeah, absolutely.
But
But
lovely.
it's coming though, isn't it? I mean, like, you're talking about that range in terms of the figures that they're bringing out. I think this is one of the things where they are adding those different levels to each wave. I think one of the things that I really like about this assortment of reveals, not just from the Black Series but from the Vintage Collection as well, is that there's a little bit of everything. Like, and it's the same with the recent wave of Vintage Collection that they just did with Anakin from Ahsoka, Dedra, the Clone Lieutenant, so on and so forth. It's like everything is they're satisfying every need, because they're bringing out stuff from all different, be it Disney Plus media, be it original trilogy, prequels, Clone Wars. They're just tapping into every market at the minute. They're bringing out a figure to satisfy everyone, and that's really, really cool to see, and it's really refreshing, and I'm very much here for it.
It makes me wonder what the other two figures are going to be, and then in this wave particularly, because I'm pretty sure it's these three figures, and then there's two more yet to be announced. So I've got a gut feeling it's going to be something original trilogy, just to, appease those fans, which is fine. That's great. But yeah, great lineup. I think that the wave choices at the minute are really strong.
Yeah.
I do like the odd wave where it is all built up of media specific stuff, kind of like Skeleton Crew when that came out. I'm assuming similarly to Andor as well when we get figures for that. But then to get in between waves of just a mixed assortment is just really, really cool.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's always good to get waves that interact with one another, and like you said with the Skeleton Crew, you've got that full wave of figures, completes a lineup of characters. That's all well and good, but I like the assorted waves where you've got figures from everything, because it just takes me back to those golden eras of collecting, like 30th anniversary collection, Legacy, and all that sort of stuff, when you just get figures from all different walks of media, and it was just so like, there was just like, if you didn't want to pick up one figure, you'd got the option there to pick something else up. I just absolutely
assortment of Star Wars history in it. It's like
yeah, and it's one of those, because can't make any bones about it. Star Wars at the minute is pretty polarizing. There's certain pockets of the fandom that are quite outspoken about the things they don't like, and there's a certain pocket of people that are passionate about everything. And I think that's one of the beauties of it. Is like, I'm not disparaging you if you don't like certain things, but if you sit there and you go, oh well, I didn't really like that show, and I wasn't really chuffed with the latest wave of Black Series because it was all purely Skeleton Crew figures. With waves like this, you're able to go, well, I didn't really enjoy that media, but I can pick up this figure from XYZ. It's just so refreshing. It's really, really nice to see.
Who's really going to complain about saving money as well?
That's it.
Because, I could do with that. I could do with a little archive wave to come along just to, curb my spending, especially this week. Now.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, we've just been saying towards it, for those that may have missed it, we usually dive into recent pickups on these streams before we kick things off with reveals and the topic of conversation. But we didn't really. I mean, I think you've had a few deliveries this week, haven't you, Dan?
I mean, I've had two yesterday, and I'm expecting hopefully one more today with a couple of packages, but it might be until Monday now. I don't know.
I was just about to say, while we've been streaming, I've just heard a knock at the door.
Oh,
and
bloody
hell. I'm pretty sure that was the Royal Mail that's just delivered my Prince Shizor and Commander Bakara figures. So I want to whiz through this now because I want to go and get my toys.
You lucky man.
Oh mate, that Shizor figure, I'm so excited for it. Honestly, I can't tell you. We have got one more Black Series reveal to talk about that wasn't announced on the stream, but it did get revealed a couple of days later, which again, missed opportunity, guys. Like, if you're going to announce a Celebration exclusive, do it on a stream that you've advertised. Come on now, what you doing? But that is a reveal that we've dedicated a couple of slides to, and we want to talk about it in detail because it's pretty juicy. But we'll save that for last. So before we dive into that one, we'll cut to the vintage collection because, like you said, Dan, the vintage collection reveals weren't too shabby either. And I think the best of the bunch for me, I don't know about you, but oh my god, I am so excited for a repaint of Dengar. That's absolutely 100%.
Is it a repaint? I thought it was new. I thought they'd done some new stuff to it. Or am I wrong? Maybe I've misread that.
I can't tell whether you're being sarcastic.
No, I'm not. I genuinely I thought, is it new or is it old?
No, it's new. It's old. It is I don't have it to hand. Oh, I do actually.
I think I've got it. I don't know if have they retooled the head or if
it is just a pure and simple. I'm just going to throw it to the cam. It is a repaint of this figure, which was released in the original vintage collection wave back in 2010.
Yeah,
that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think you are. I've got it. Yeah.
The issue that I have with this reveal is not that it's Dengar, because Dengar's a boy. I'm here for him. But how is it? Right, we're in 2025. Okay. And that figure, like I said, get it back into circulation by all means. Absolutely. But how is it that we're in 2025, we're 15 years removed from this figure being released? How is it that the new reveal and the repaint is significantly worse?
Yeah, it's...
Right.
To be honest, when you compare the two...
And do you know what really, really irks me about stuff like this? Is that they announce this figure and they're like, yeah, we're getting it back into circulation and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fantastic. I'm all for that. And if you didn't get Dengar the first time around and you're looking to complete that Bounty Hunter lineup, this is absolutely fine. But when you've got something to compare it to, it's just so underwhelming. And I think the biggest kicker for me is the fact that back in 2010, and I know inflation's a thing, I know that costs and, economics... That figure when it came out was probably what, like $10.99? How much were vintage collection figures back in the day? I can't remember.
About that, maybe $8.99, $10.99.
Yeah, something like that. This figure is going to set you back nearly 20 quid, and there is significantly less paint on it than the original release. That really winds me up. So you're paying more for less. It's like with Aura Singh that they did a couple of months ago. It's like it's the same figure that was released in 2010, but with half the amount of accessories, but we're going to churn the price up, tenfold. It's like, why should you, especially for collectors that have been in the game for a while, like how are you expecting people to pick this up? I know, again, there's going to be a pocket of fans that are going to grab this because I think the card is also unique to this figure. It's slightly different to the original. In fact, no, it's not slightly different. It's a completely new image. I'm completely wrong on that one because the original figure had Dengar, where you see him like the full figure or the full character, whereas this is just like the head and shoulder shot, which I think card wise this looks better.
Yeah,
this is
for sure.
Significantly better, but as a figure it's naff. for all intents and purposes. Out of the Basement's just asked if I'll show it again, so yeah, here we go. Let's throw it back to
go on
solo camp. There we go. There's the original for you guys. Someone's cutting their grass on your end, aren't they, Dan?
They are. They always, if it wasn't doing something else, like jangling some coins.
There you go. That's the original. But look at the weathering on the gloves and the detail in the head sculpt. Like, this figure doesn't use photoreal, but I'd argue that this head sculpt and the paint apps on this figure are 10 times better than the new one.
Yeah. It really does.
Look at all that. Look at all the weathering.
It just absolutely.
It shits on the new. It shits on the new one. It really, really does. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, 'cause I know a lot of people were kicking off in the comments on this one, saying, "Oh, we're getting swivel hips in 2025, and that doesn't fly." But I can live with the articulation because this figure is still very, very good, even by today's standards.
Yeah.
Like, the level of detail that's in it, it holds up. But I think just to regress, which I think that new one is, it's a regression. And I understand it. Like I said, inflation is a thing. I get that. You can't, there isn't the means of getting these figures out in the same way that they were years ago, and that's one of the reasons why I think when we were doing the original Trilogy live stream, Dan, when we said about FX7, and we said, by today's standards, it's just not it's not feasible. Something that they can feasibly do, which is fair enough. I totally appreciate that. But when you're getting less for more, less stuff for more money, it doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
When it came up, I was a bit like, boring.
Yeah, I was
boring.
Like, boring.
But I'm glad they showed, I think, this one first, because it was like, okay, come on now.
It could only go up from there.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I bet everybody who was watching this stream was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
What other shit are we getting? But to be fair, Dengar aside, the rest of the TVC reveals were pretty good.
Yeah.
So just to throw it in, because like I said, unfortunately, James Roboquiff Collects couldn't be with us this morning. And I said, "Oh, don't worry, James. We'll talk about that Clone Wars Ventress for you in a lot of detail, and we'll get your thoughts on it the next time around." He said, "Actually, I'm not that bothered about Ventress.
That really surprised me."
Yeah, he said, "I'm more here for Agent Kallus." And do you know what?
Yeah,
like we'll talk about Ventress in just a little bit. But holy crap, this one really took me by surprise because it was one of those that I feel like we manifested it over recent streams.
Yeah.
Like, we brought this one to life. I know that we've done Black Series wish lists, but I think
I'm sure
one of us has pitched this at some point in Black Series, so to see it is...
I'm sure James even said he wanted to see this one made in vintage before Black Series, which is quite a, if I'm not mistaken, that's usually quite a controversial thing for any of us to say.
Yeah.
Because we're predominantly seen as Black Series collectors.
No, we're predominantly seen as the superior scale collectors. Get it right.
You know it. But no, this little tiddler, I'm kind of sad that I haven't got the rest of the Rebels crew in Vintage Collection, because just upscale it in Black Series for me, because that's perfect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like everything that you wanted this figure to be, it's there.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so good about it for me is that it's just it's the best that it could. We've said it in previous streams about how it's sometimes better to wait for certain
Yeah.
characters to make their debut in a line, because by the time that Hasbro get around to it, they're doing some of their best work. And I think in terms of the vintage collection, say what you will about 3 3/4 inch, 6 inch, collect what you collect, all that sort of stuff. If you've got your reasons, that's by the by. But when a figure is just so good, and you've got to give the devil its due, like this for me is an instant buy. And I haven't got the rest of the Rebels crew in the vintage collection either, but I am very, 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 very tempted to do so now, because this is just so.
I kind of want it carded.
Yeah.
If I could ever meet the actor who voices him, David.
I can never pronounce his name.
I'm sorry, but if I could ever go to a convention, he's there, and get him to sign it, that'd be awesome. Because he's a really good actor as it is anyway.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was in Rebels is just awesome. I'd love it. I'd love to get this character on vintage card, I think.
Yeah, it's really, really good. One of the things that really pleasantly surprised me was the helmet and the fact that it's removable.
Yeah.
I know removable helmets don't always work too well, and that was one of the. In certain images, you look at this one and you think, yeah, the helmet looks a little bit oversized, but it's just, I don't know.
They are quite clunky anyway, aren't they? But
they are.
I know what you mean. Like in terms of how it would sit, because Kallus has that very distinct hairstyle and his mutton chops, and
it's just the aesthetic of this one for me. It just looks like everything about it is so cool. Like the fact that it doesn't just come with a standard blaster, the fact that you've got the staff is cool. Like the electrode effects on the ends, it's just like they've thought about it. They've put the effort in and they've put the time in, and I appreciate that, because this is really, really cool to see. And like I said, it is everything that when you pitch an Agent Kallus figure, be it in Black Series or Vintage Collection. I'm pretty sure it was Alex, Mr. Stormtrooper Davis, who mentioned on our Rebels Wishlist live stream, which if you haven't checked it out, go and have a look, because the views on that one haven't done so well. So go and check it out. It's definitely worth a look. There's some pretty cool choices in there. Alex pitched this one for the Black Series, and I think we talked about it at length about what it should come with, like the accessories, certain stuff. Like, this is just like everything that you would want to see in a figure of this character is there, and it's present. And like I said, I appreciate it when Hasbro do stuff like this, when they give us what we actually want, because it's just, again, it's refreshing. It's cool to see.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking now I need it unboxed.
Yeah, I think this is
it's gonna have to go on my throne shelf. Oh, bloody hell! There we go. Sorted.
That's it. It's a very, very, very cool figure. It looks really, really good. So yeah, it's great to see Hot Kallus in the line finally. Moving on throughout the vintage collection, as we alluded to shortly before, we do have Asajj Ventress from the Clone Wars, which is, I'm going to say it, long overdue.
Way long overdue.
Way overdue. Yeah. Really, really, this should have been out years ago. But again, going back to what we were saying about waiting for Hasbro to do their best work before they debut a character, this is a prime example of that. The Black Series version is an absolutely phenomenal figure, and this looks to be a downscaled version of that. That is my only gripe with this one, because it isn't different enough from the Black Series one to warrant a purchase for me.
Do you know what? It's also not too different from the Clone Wars one they made, really.
Yeah.
Maybe with a few extra points of articulation, but I mean, regardless, I think this, again, it's the card. It tickles me when they put, non-original trilogy characters on a vintage card. It's always going to weirdly win me over, especially when it's done as well as this.
Yeah,
she's just awesome.
Those Clone Wars TVC cards do look really, really good.
Yeah.
I've put a little side quest together myself, and I've got all, like, for the most part anyway, all the Clone Wars ARC troopers that they've done. I've got a little carded gallery of those up on my wall because I just think the Clone Wars logo just looks right on that vintage card. Do you know what I mean? It looks really, really good. And so I'm here for the card, absolutely. And like Sean says in the comments, gives me Clone Wars movie vibes, absolutely. And that is a massive, massive gut punch of nostalgia for me because I remember 2008 very, very, very fondly. So it's really cool. Luke has mentioned as well, this is the first 3 3/4 inch Clone Wars Ventress we've had since 2008, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me.
Mad.
That is absolutely shocking. Like I said, by all means, I'm happy that they've waited because it means that they get to do it to the best of their ability. Like, this is probably going to be now the first and last Ventress figure in the vintage collection for a while, unless they feel like they want to repaint it and give it the Tartakovsky look, which, I'll be honest, I thought was a massive missed opportunity for the Black Series anniversary line that they did.
Yeah.
I really would have loved to have seen it because that line was all about repaints because we got the Captain Fordo that wasn't really Fordo. We got the weird pale Grievous, and then we got the Kit Bash Mace Windu, which was the best of the three. But those anniversary lines are susceptible to repaints and retools and all that sort of stuff. And so for me, if they were, I think one of us may have even mentioned this on the very, very first live stream we ever did on the channel, when we did the Clone Wars wish list, we said, if we're going to celebrate 20 years of the Clone Wars as a whole, get some of those Tartakovsky characters back in circulation. And you could have easily done it with the Black Series Ventress that we've got. You could have just repainted it and given it a bit of a fresh coat of paint so that it resembled Ventress from the Tartakovsky series, where she's got a
bit of an homage in it, really.
Yeah, where she's got the vacant eyes, she's got the white top, the black gown. Like, it would have been a very, very, very simple repaint to do. And that's the only issue for me with this one, is that this figure, it's perfect. Don't get me wrong, it's absolutely phenomenal. It looks great. But for me, as a predominantly Black Series collector, this figure isn't different enough to warrant me picking it up because it's too similar to what I already have.
Yeah.
So, and it's the issue that I had with the Rebels Throne that they did, because it is essentially just a scaled down version of the Black Series version, which I already have. So I'm not gonna spend the money on it because it's identical to what I've got.
Absolutely.
So if this was different enough in that sense that it was repainted, it had a different look, maybe came with a couple of different accessories or something, I don't know, it would have been better for me. But that's just me looking at this from a very selfish perspective.
I think for me, when it comes to my collecting the vintage collection, I like the weird Star Wars.
Yeah.
I like it when it's something a little bit out the box and different on card. So, like, for example, we got that Life Day Chewbacca. I'm kind of happy. I would love a Black Series one, don't get me wrong, but I'm happy enough now that I've got an interpretation of it in that vintage card.
Yeah.
Because it suits well for that. And I think when it comes to something like this, maybe going a little bit different to what Black Series has got might have benefited it a bit more. Might have got a few more sales in for people who just want something a bit different.
I think this one will sell.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong.
It's like I said, that I think that the length of time that we've waited for this figure, I mean, it's one of those that you always see it pop up on the March Madness polls. You always see it. People are always harbouring for a vintage collection Ventress. So to actually see it materialise and come to fruition is absolutely phenomenal. Like, I'm thrilled. I am really, really happy to see it. Like I said, it's long overdue. There are differences between this and the Black Series version. I mean, I think the decorative panel on the skirt is fabric, and it's printed rather than being sculpted like the Black Series one, which some may love it, some may hate it, but there is that difference there, I suppose. But yeah, it's like Matt says in the comments. She was on that fan poll 5 years running. That is insane. That is absolutely mad. that we've been waiting. I mean, obviously been waiting longer, but the fact that people have been lobbying for this for so long is just it's pleasant to see.
Yeah, for sure.
And like Tesco Falco says in the comments, you can now recreate that iconic scene from Clone Wars if you've got Arc Trooper Colt.
Yeah.
Which has just reminded me, actually, Arc Trooper Colt is the one I'm missing from my my Rogues gallery of carded TVC Arc Troopers. Cheers, Tesco, you've just cost me more money. Thanks for that, pal. But no, thrilled to see it. Really, really happy to see it. It's a cool one for sure. We have, I believe, with 2 more TVC reveals, but 1 more basic figure to touch on. Overdue, but not quite as long as Ventress, is Carson Teva from The Mandalorian, which, I don't know about you, Dan, I think this is, again, what a stellar lineup of reveals.
Yeah, for sure.
This is just...
With this one, I'm really happy for the actor that plays him. The fact that because they got him on the live stream, and he's definitely a massive Star Wars fan himself. I think he collects a lot of the Micro Galaxy Squadron stuff.
He does, yeah.
So yeah, to see him interact with that figure, that must be a dream come true. To have yourself, immortalized as your character from the media, that's so awesome. Yeah, I really want this in Black Series.
Yeah,
and that if they do it in Black Series, it's going to really screw me over because I'm going to want to open me Dave Filoni £50 figgy, which I don't really want to do because he's nice in that part. I've even got his helmet. But if I get this in Black Series, then so I'm happy that Vintage Collector's got this one because it's like I'm safe. I'm safe this year. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about it quite often, don't we, when it comes to Black Series and Mandalorian characters, that there is such an oversaturation of the line.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like don't get me wrong. There's so many cool characters from Mando that we get and have gotten in the Black Series, but sometimes when they announce Black Series Mandalorian figures, I'm kind of like, oh god, another one.
Yeah.
And it's purely again from a completely selfish place because I'm just like, my Mandalorian shelf is just so tightly packed. I haven't got the space. And I've said it before in previous streams. I mean, I think a while back I picked up the Shriek-Hawk multi-set.
Yes, yeah.
And for figures such as that, like I'm so happy that certain characters get made in one scale and not the other because it gives you that option. And with Mandalorian figures especially, I'm always buzzing when we get a figure in Vintage and not Black Series because I'm like, okay, I've got enough space on my Mandalorian setup that this one will fit. If it was Black Series, I'd be like, fucking hell, I really want it, but I can't fit it on the shelf. So this is, I'm absolutely here for this. I will be buying it when I see it. We made a case on the last live stream we did. The Rebel pilots don't get enough representation,
for
sure. At least from a unique sculpt perspective. And so to see this, a brand new figure, a fan favourite as well. Like the fact that it comes with the jacket as well.
Yeah, the jacket makes it so... It's just slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just like getting a full-suited X-Wing, pilot. It's that extra little touch.
Yeah, and that's what
unique.
That's what really sold it for me as well. If this was just Carson in his pilot outfit, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll get it at some point. But the fact that they have made it different enough to a regular pilot is like, okay, yeah, this is different enough to add to my shelf. This is really, really cool. And again, talking about Hasbro doing their best work, head sculpt on point, paint apps on the helmet, fantastic. Just overall execution of this figure, like the blaster rifle that he comes with as well. Awesome, absolutely awesome. And like Out of the Basement just pointed out, he's got thigh swivels. That's not something we see a lot of. So you're even getting that extra level of articulation in the Vintage collection as well. But yeah, I'm thrilled with it. I'm absolutely thrilled with it. It's such a cool figure. And like you say, I think it's one of those where Matt said in the comments that you could tell Paul was absolutely buzzing to open this up. Like, it was wholesome, and it was like you could see him getting excited about it. That's just one of the best things about Star Wars collecting, is just that excitement. And when you can get really, really excited about something, as simple as it is, it's just, it brings that it's. I think Jesse's mentioned it on some of his videos before, like when we talk about sequel figures, where those movies are underrepresented in the action figure line, and so it takes away some of it takes away that enjoyment of the media because you haven't got the toys to play with. It takes you back to being a kid.
Yeah.
You haven't got that enjoyment because you're not sat there watching the movie but playing with the figures at the same time. And this is one of those where as soon as I pick this figure up, I'm going to be going back and watching Mando, and I'm going to be sat there watching it while I open the figure, and I'm going to be like, I fucking love Star Wars. Do you know what I mean?
It's so true, though.
It's that. And that's what it's all about.
It's like with those Revenge... I know we're going a little bit off topic here, but those Revenge of the Sith Black Series cards, just to quickly plug, getting this in the mail yesterday, and it was like I was sent straight back to 2005, and knowing that we've got Revenge of the Sith... Oh, sorry. Knowing that we've got Revenge of the Sith coming back in theatres... Oh, it just made me so buzzing. It's much
one of those, isn't it?
I needed 2!
Oh, baby.
And he's just a bit good.
Man. I wish I'd pre-ordered that instead of Bakara.
I will be reviewing him after we've done this, so that's why he's here. But
oh my god.
Yeah. He's bloody lovely. He really is. And especially on that card. Oh, mama.
Oh my god. I need it. Why did I pre-order Bakara and not Kurda? What an idiot. Why did I do that?
I think it's a bit criminal they didn't put Bakara on the card, to be honest.
Well, it would have made more sense, wouldn't it? I mean, it kicked us all in the OCD with that one, because Cody never got the episode 3 release. Anyway, we digress. That
was my bad.
That's it. Well, it's all right. It's Toy Talk and Live Chat, mate. We've got to talk toys. It's fine.
Yeah.
One more TVC reveal to touch on before we wrap things up with the main event, which we'll get to in just a bit. Can't say I'm overly excited for this one, but it's there for those who want it. There are aspects of it that I am excited for. But what are your thoughts on this one, Dan? First and foremost,
I mean, I didn't get the original when it came out in Vintage Collection. I don't really care. It sounds bad, but I never got the Black Series one, to be honest, because I wouldn't know where to put the damn thing. But I mean, happy for those that want it. It's cool that to be honest, I'm jealous about the Luke, especially with mine. I've reviewed the Black Series one, and I've made my thoughts pretty clear on that.
Do you know what?
Check it out. If you get a chance.
I feel like such a melt because I went into Forbidden Planet a few weeks ago. I forgot to showcase it on recent pickups last time. But I picked up the Vintage Collection Luke, and I think I said it to you guys, didn't I? I was like, I've only picked it up because I've got an empty Landspeeder. I picked up the original Vintage Collection Landspeeder from 2011, 2012 when that one first came out. And it's been sat in my collection for years, empty, because I haven't had the figures to fill it. And so when that new Luke came out, I was like, I've got plenty of Lukes in the collection that I don't need one for the shelf, so I'm going to get this one to put in my Landspeeder. I bought it, I opened it up, and I was like, do you know what? This is actually the best, if not, it's hands down the best 3 3/4 inch Luke they've ever done. And I bought it purely for the purpose of sticking it in a Landspeeder. Came to pose it, forgot that it had the plastic skirt, and was like, oh crap, he doesn't sit down. And he wouldn't fit. But then at the same time, I was like, well, do you know what? This is actually a blessing in disguise, because I'll just swap out the figure that I've got on my episode 4 shelf, and I'll put that one in I think it was one of the later Power of the Force figures, one of the Comtech figures that I've got on the shelf.
Yeah.
So he's now in the Landspeeder, and the TVC Luke's on the shelf. And do you know what? I'm actually happy with that, because that figure is so good that it needs to be showcased. But if I'd have known, because they pipelined the Landspeeder a while back, and again, I don't tend to watch these streams live. I always just catch them either on replay and fast forward through them, or I just look at the images. And I was like, well, if I'd have known it was coming with a figure that was fit for purpose and would fit the Landspeeder itself, I'd have probably held out, maybe even traded in the old Landspeeder for this one. Because one of the things that I really like about this is the deco. that vintage collection Landspeeder that came out a few years ago. And again, it's really fortuitous that I have all this stuff to hand. The original vintage Landspeeder that came out in 2012 or 2011, something like that. It's very, very Donald Trump. It's very orange. And it's, don't get me wrong, like sculpt wise, it's absolutely phenomenal. And it looks great. But it's just a little bit too dark for me in terms of colour. I don't know, there's just something a little bit off about it. Whereas the colour that's on this one, not only does it feel a lot more accurate to the movie, but this is giving me massive Power of the Force 2 vibes as well.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so it's like, oh man, I really want it. But at the same time, do I want it for 60 quid? Because that's one of the issues with this, again, going back to talking about pricing. 57 quid to UK fan channels is...
If it would have been worth it if it actually came with that Sand Trooper on the box, because you had a thing.
Yeah.
You've said about that Sand Trooper looking quite funky.
Yeah.
I think it was you, wasn't it? Messaged the chat.
Yeah, I was like, is it new? Did anybody mention whether it was new or not? Because it looks like a kit bash, but at the same time, it's like, can we finally have a new vintage Sand Trooper, please?
Yeah.
So I got a little bit excited, but yeah, I don't know. There's just, it's a tough pill to swallow, because I remember years ago when vehicles of this size would have cost about 15 quid.
Yeah, and then it went up to 25, didn't it? And then it's,
But I'm still holding on to those times when we were picking up Jedi Starfighters and TIE Fighters for 25 quid. I remember getting an AT-AP, for Christ's sake, for 20 quid. I got a V19 Torrent Starfighter from John Lewis back in 2008 for $9.99. So, do you know what I mean? Like, it's
for sure.
It's tough. It's really, really tough. Tesco Falco's mentioned in the chat, how do we feel about the translucent wheels and playability? Absolutely fine, because if I'm not mistaken, looking at it, it looks like a new sculpt, because you've got the dints and dings at the front.
Yeah.
But from a visual standpoint, it does look very similar to the original Vintage Collection one. The original Vintage one has the translucent wheels, and it bounces, and it's got the suspension and what have you. So I'm all for that. I think that's great. It's always a nice touch. But
I'm pretty sure it has that lever as well in it to retract the wheels. Am I mistaken? On this new one as well, I think.
Fucking hell, Dan.
Yeah.
I never knew it did that.
Oh, okay. I think this one does it as well. So if you didn't want to have the wheels, you can have like a little display stand or something to, make one and have it hover. It's really up to you.
I can't, but... Sorry, I'm just a bit mind blown, because I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I did not know that it did that. What the hell? That's been in my collection for 13 years. And I have just found that out now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this one will do it as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Christ. I think I reviewed that as well. I'm going to have to go back and watch that video and see whether I mentioned it, because I might have realised then and just forgot, but no.
It can be like that when you have a toy though for that long and you've not picked it up and it does that.
This bad boy can fit so many wheels inside it. That's mint. No, do you know what? It's a cool release. I mean, they're obviously banging the drum of the Return to Tatooine theme, which is, absolutely fine, given that we're getting the cantina and stuff. So, world building and all that sort of stuff. That's there. But yeah, I think the talking point about this though is the Luke, because this is
This is what we could have had in Black Series, for God's sake. It's just, that really annoys me. Even though it's like, obviously, if this was to be released single card, it'd be a deluxe, because it's Hasbro's invisible price tax.
Not bitter at all, Dan.
I'm not bitter at all. That's nice. I love the bucket hat look. I love the sniper, the cycler rifle, and the. Does he come with the goggles as well? Like the little.
I think the goggles are sculpted onto the hat. So, but because I remember somebody making a point about the TVC Luke, the basic one, saying that all the Power of the Force accessories fit that figure. So it's like it's cool that they've done this. For your average Joe blogs such as me or you, who's picked up the regular one, like I'm excited for this because I think we've said it, haven't we, in previous streams, and we do say it in jest, but we're a little bit bored of the TVC cards. You know, it's time for a refresh. It's time for something a little bit new, but at the same time, yeah, they're synonymous with Star Wars, and it's all about brand identity and all that sort of stuff. This card looks absolutely gorgeous.
I really like it.
It looks so good. And just to see it, I mean, I've just slagged this one off for being a bit too pricey, but I suppose when you factor in that this figure at retail would probably be about 20 quid, that only makes the Landspeeder about 30 or 40. So I suppose in a roundabout sense, it's not actually that bad.
Yeah. It could be better, but it certainly could be.
Worse. There's always improvements, but this is. I mean, I think one of the key things for this, aside from the accessories, is the extra deco. The fact that we've just been talking about Dengar that's been released and they've not weathered it and it looks crap compared to the original release. I'm not going to make any bones about it. It is what it is. Whereas then you've got this figure which has got the extra grime and dirt on the boots, which is something that wasn't there on the basic release. So it's just like it's that attention to detail, and it's making these figures different enough to warrant the purchase. So if you've got the existing version, it's like, yeah, but this one's slightly different. This is literally Malibu Stacy with a new hat.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like it's cool that they've put that extra work in to make it different enough, and it's like, well, if you didn't want to get this one, you've got this. It's giving that option. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like facilitating every requirement, and I'm just like I said, I just think that this was such a stellar stream for reveals and I think Collector 1970s mentioned it in the chat. And like I said, we do it in jest. We are advocates for both lines. We always give it grief, but it's all in good fun. But we really need to put this Black Series versus Vintage Collection to rest. Lately, both lines are hitting it out of the park, and both collectors of both lines are the winners. I couldn't agree more.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I agree with that.
Couldn't agree more. And this stream in particular was like a testament to that, because they've just absolutely nailed every scale. Sometimes you'll watch these shows and you'll be like, oh, okay, Black Series did pretty well there, Vintage Collection not so much, or Vintage Collection got some really cool stuff, Black Series meh. This just did it for everyone, at least from my as a collector of both lines. This for me was like, okay, I can't actually pick a winner from this.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, I was sat there jealous about the Vintage Collection reveals, but then we also balanced it out with some of the stuff that Vintage Collection got. It was nice. It's like,
I found myself coming out of this stream thinking Vintage Collection took the day on that one, because they got the good stuff. But yeah, I'm absolutely there. Like, the tribalism just needs to end. We're Star Wars fans. We're both collectors. It doesn't matter what you collect. You're celebrating this fandom.
Look, we all play with toys. We all play with toys. If you keep them in a box, if you open them, we're all big kids at heart.
That's it.
Just as long as you're not buying skibbity toilet shite, you're all right. You're all right in my book.
God.
There we go.
That'll be the next stream, guys. We're going to do a skibbity toilet wish list.
Oh,
can't wait for that.
Skibbity, no.
Skibbity, get in the bin. Skibbity, get in the fucking toilet.
Skibbity.
Anything else? Skibbity doodah.
Skibbity day.
Wow. But yeah, no, like I said, the figure is fantastic. The Landspeeder is great for those who didn't get one. It's a pass for me because I just don't have a need. But in terms of just as an offering, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's really, really good, and it's cool to see it. That is it from the fan stream. But we did get one more reveal this week. and it comes to us all the way from the Far East. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure there's an event going on next month over in Japan, and I'm a little bit envious.
I'm really envious.
Like, I'd have. There was a time when when Celebration was announced, I was like, yeah, we're gonna go. But because of timing and the dates that it fell on and all that sort of stuff, it just wasn't feasible for us, unfortunately. So we're putting this one out. Japan is on the bucket list, so we will get there one day, and hopefully Celebration returns to the land of the rising sun. But I'm very, very jealous and very envious of everyone who's getting to attend, and even more so now because not just Hasbro, but there's so many companies that are putting out and offering exclusive for Celebration that are all in the theme of Japan and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like, it's so cool to see. I mean, we were on the last stream, weren't we? And I was looking on the Tamashii Nation stuff that I've picked up recently. Yeah. And it's like just such a cool aesthetic. It's such a cool visual. And so to incorporate those elements into Star Wars products is just really, really cool to see. And we're getting statues, we're getting Mafex figures, we've got pins, all sorts of weird and wonderful exclusives for Celebration. But the biggest,
just to touch base on that, it's a really nice homage because that's what Asian cinema was what really inspired George Lucas and martial art Japanese films. It's such
Kurosawa and all that sort of stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's such a nice synergy to see it come back to that through the merchandising, which I really do appreciate, because there's some merchandise that people chuck out and it's shy. It's just put Darth Vader on it because people buy it. Here's a notepad with X-Wing on and it says Rebel. It's like,
it's tat.
No, it's tat. It's tat. Some of it has a bit of purpose.
I'm looking at you, Mankind.
Yes, that's it. The sort of shite you find in Mankind.
Yeah.
Right? Granted, they have funky pops, if you're into that, which some could argue is overproduced tat. But they've been. I can't lie. I've picked up a couple, but in terms of this is like, mwah.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Yep.
And Hasbro's done it. Let's get to it. Go on.
Shall we get to it?
Get it on. Yeah, that's it. I need it.
So all the way from Star Wars Visions, we have the Ronin and his astromech droid, whose name I forget and can't see on the box because it's small. R5 DB6 or something.
D56. R5 D56.
Can I just say, holy shit! Like, this is an exclusive.
It's just, I want to cry because I want it now. Hasbro, if you're watching, you want to send a review copy? I would. You know what? You don't have to send me any other review copy ever again. I'd be happy. I'd be really happy with this. Just a little collab between Hasbro and Daily 1000. Or similar to that. It's just Robo Quick Collectors. Allow us to review it. I want to touch it. I need it now. I need it.
He needs to rub his Monday to it.
Oh, it's this when it's that I've been wanting Star Wars Vision stuff for the longest time because I love how different of a display that would be solely on Star Wars Visions, because you could have Aardman, you'd have this. God. Do you know what I mean? Just how funky would that look in Hasbro Black Series?
Yeah.
And this is just the presentation, the figures themselves, and the fact that, they are, I think, the rumour, word on the street, is there is going to be a regular version coming out on market, isn't there?
Yeah.
For mass retail. How is this a thing? It's taken and again, I'm so glad it's taken them so long to do this because they've perfected it. Yes, some of it is reuse, at least with that astromech, but it's reused in the best way.
Yeah. I was just about to bring it to that because Matt's just popped up in the chat and said, "This is awesome, but I'm disappointed it's the wrong droid." Now, I thought when I saw this, I was like, that astromech doesn't look as I remember it. It's a little bit too much like an astromech. Like, what's off about it exactly? Because I haven't watched Visions for a while. I tend to. This is my toxic trait. I only tend to watch Star Wars media once before I'm like, okay, yep, seen that. I will remember everything about that. And I'll be able to go to a pub quiz and know every answer to every question. And then I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I've only watched it once. I can't remember. So, I thought there was something off, but I'm guessing, do you know?
Isn't it more, to be honest, and I could be wrong, but this is just going off my memory. Because again, I've watched Visions a couple of times, but not like as heavily as other media for sure. But isn't the astromech more like Chopper in its size? Or am I misremembering that completely?
See, I'm trying to think back because Funko, just to your point, did a 2-pack, didn't they, of the Ronin and the droid?
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, we're never going to get any Star Wars Visions merch in any other line, so I'll probably have to pick this up. And then never did.
Same
But I just seem to remember. I remember the hat and I remember the staff. I don't remember what the droid itself actually looked like.
Other than the little straw hat, which was always funky.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really love about that Tamashii Nations Obi-Wan, is the fact that it comes with that hat. I need to get that out on display, actually, because I'm looking at the Obi-Wan and I'm like, yeah, it needs something else. I'm going to stick it on there when we've done this, actually. But yeah, I mean, do you know what? Like, inaccuracies be damned. Like, this is just the fact that we've got it. Yeah, is just so next level.
I think if they'd really dropped the ball on the other figure, the actual Ronin, then yeah, it would have been a little bit of a damp squib. But
yeah,
the fact that they've
Can we talk about wired capes?
Can we talk about wired capes and why we need them more? Because that is how yes. Look at it. You can actually pose the cape and have it flow in a way that's action-packed. I want to get if I am to get this, and if I am to get the version with the flowy cape, which I highly doubt is going to happen, but if I do...
Dan, are you going to stick a flight stand up its arse?
I'm going to stick a flight stand up its arse. I'm going to have it in a fucking dynamic pose! Not boring, you know. Just the amount of just badass poses you can do with this guy by the looks of things.
Yeah.
And actually have the cape sit in a way that looks dynamic.
It's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just touching on some of the differences, because again, this is all stipulation, isn't it, really? But I think the two differences between this exclusive and the regular version... The exclusive is going to be... All the text is going to be in Japanese. I'm not sure if there's a specific name for that. In terms of that text style or writing style. But also the figure of the Ronin. So this exclusive will have the cloth cape and, of course, the wire in that. The regular version, if this is to be believed... is going to be all plastic, which is a bit but I still want it.
I think parts were leaked for it recently. I think the guys from Out of the Basement shared it on one of their chats recently. Do you know what? Like, if this one is so unobtainable that I have to settle for the regular release, that's absolutely fine.
I'm the same.
I think don't get me wrong, like purely from an exclusive standpoint, like this is, I mean, we've talked about how, and it's one of the things we've actually put to Hasbro when we've talked to them in person, is like how exclusives need to differ significantly from their from their basic counterparts. And we've talked about exclusive packaging and sleeves and, making the figures different and all that sort of stuff. This to me just speaks to that. Because like you said, the presentation on this one, the packaging, like you've got that. But I mean, I've done myself a disservice and I've not prepared an image that shows the panels that open up. But Yeah, not only have you got the sleeve that slots over the box with the very nice touch of the paper tie on the front, like that's a really nice touch. But then when you open the box out, you've got the panels that expand, and then you can see the figure in the box, and then you've got the artwork, and like you said, the Japanese text. Oh man, like
the artwork.
presentation wise.
I mean, the artwork I could just see myself using as a backdrop for it, just having a setup solely focused
Yeah.
on that. It's the presentation, it's the figure, it's the figures themselves are just pitch perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean, just touching base on the differences as well. I think the straw hat on the Astromech, in terms of the regular release, that's going to be coloured and not monochrome. Is that right?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I was wondering whether, because obviously the short itself is in black and white, and I wondered whether or not the basic release would be a full colour figure.
Yeah.
Just so that it fits in with the other stuff in your collection. It doesn't look that out of place, because that's one of the things that I really love about this is the fact that it's just black and white. Yeah. It really throws me to those, you remember those McFarlane Walking Dead figures that they did for the comic books?
Yes,
that are all in black and white, and media such as Sin City and all that sort of thing, like media that's presented in black and white, but then the action figures are then done in the same way. I just think there's a really fine art to doing monochromed action figures. I don't know how they do it, but it just it doesn't look weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't look out of place.
I don't know how to describe it. It's weird. And going back to what we said again, the cliche of jumping off your TV screen and into your collection. This is it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they've not live actioned it up either. Like you've got all the.
I think that's the impressive thing, isn't it? The fact that it is in its animated style. Yes. And that's something for a 2D drawing is really hard to incorporate into
a 3-dimensional product.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's beautiful. It's really, really good, and it's just another one of those where it's like, we thought we were probably never going to get this, so to see it is just it's incredible. It really is.
I'll take any version of this. Yeah. Obviously, I'd love to get the exclusive one, but any version I'll be happy with. And again, it goes back to I went to Star Action Figures the open day, and they had a Q&A there actually, and there was a big talk about how exclusives should be presented and differentiate from. Brandon, you've listened, my boy. He knows his stuff, and he's got to have had a hand in this one, because what a set. This is probably one of my favourite exclusives ever made. It harks back to what makes an exclusive an exclusive.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Don't seal it off from the rest of the market. Do a regular version and do one that's available at the con. Actually available at the con, not with a fucking QR code that you queue up for, and then you have to wait, and then you wait, and then you wait, and the website gets it that isn't even Hasbro Pulse quicker. What makes sense to that?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those as well, because I don't know if any of our UK viewers have seen, but Star Action Figures are getting their hands on quite a few Pulse exclusives, because there's something obviously not working over there.
I think they need to check their pulse.
There we go. Only the best comedy on these streams, guys. You'll be able to catch Dan live at the Apollo next week.
I wish.
But I've completely forgot what I was saying.
What are you saying?
I don't know. It's gone. It's gone. It's like the rest of my mind, mate.
It was about pulse. They need to check the pulse.
Yeah,
there's something going on.
Something's not right over at Hasbro Pulse, that all these exclusives are finding their way into the hands of independent retailers for a fraction of the price. And so with this one, I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I reach out to somebody that I know that's off to get this from Celebration itself and ask them to pick me one up? or do I just wait until it's 20 quid on Star Action Figures, or it's like, or it pops up in game or something?
In honesty, I think what I would do is if I could get the exclusive version to Celebration, if it happens to not appear anywhere else, I would get it just to keep boxed, and then get the standard version to have open.
Yeah.
Or work out a way. Yeah.
And again, that's the beauty of making the exclusives different from their basic releases as well, because you don't feel like you're buying the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Because like you've got this one, you've got the exclusive because it's in its presentation box and it's got the soft goods and it's all that sort of stuff. But then you buy the basic one that's potentially got a little bit more colour to it. It's got the plastic cape. It doesn't feel like the same figure. So it's like you've got that beauty of it there. It's just it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
It's something to hunt for as well. And probably pay obscenely stupid money, like I did with the San Diego Comic Con exclusive Grand Admiral Thrawn that they released a few years back, that I managed to obtain just last year for a handsome sum of, I can't remember, but it was a lot. It was a lot more. It was enough.
But it's one of those things, isn't it? You live and learn. But no, Tesco Falco's mentioned it. It's peak. Yeah. It is absolutely peak, and it's the epitome, like you said, Dan, of just an absolutely perfect exclusive. It is what an exclusive should be. It's relevant to the location of the con. It's just such one of the things I love about one of the things I love about exclusives when it comes to conventions and stuff is that it's a memento from the event.
Yes.
It's a souvenir of a time shared. And that is what I love about this, is the fact that it's like you get this, and then you're going to be like, that's from that time I went to Japan and went to Celebration, and that's
got
what
to
you
see
want.
Most likely a trailer for Star Wars Vision Season 3, because I'm pretty sure they're revealing that at Celebration. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't the studio who made the particular short on the Ronin doing a continuation?
Apparently so, yeah. I seem to remember reading something about that as well. That story is going to continue, isn't it? Because it was one of the more popular shorts from the series. So yeah, maybe that's
quite fortuitous.
Yeah,
I would say
maybe that's one of the reasons why they've done it, is because it's like a little bit of foreshadowing. This is the full series is coming. But no, it's awesome, absolutely awesome. I'm here for it. Matthew in the chat is off to walk his dogs, Biggs and Wedge. Awesome. Love that.
Oh, I love that.
So got to shoot off. Great stream, fellas. Thank you. You're more than welcome, Matt. Thank you for joining us. And that's going to be it from us as well. Unless there's anything else you'd like to add, Dan. I think that's everything covered.
That's all the Figgy Fiendry covered, I think, of all the reveals. I hope you enjoyed.
Absolutely. Like we said, all of the stuff that we've covered on this morning's stream is, other than the Ronin, obviously, being a Celebration exclusive, all available for pre-order now over at staractionfigures.co.uk. There is a banner currently rolling along the bottom of the screen where you can go and check them out. And as always, there's a link down below in the video description. Like I said, James couldn't join us for this stream, unfortunately, but there's a link down below to his Instagram if you want to check out all his toy photography. Dan alluded to the fact that you've got some more content on the way later on.
Well, we're going to get this reviewed, and depending if Shizo turns up, we'll try and get him reviewed as well. And maybe Savaggio Press, but it's all pendant on Royal Mail.
That's it, isn't it? That's the main thing. So I've got, talking of recent pickups, I've got a Power of the Force figure that I need to go and collect from the post office today. Oh. Which, oddly, their delivery office opening times are 8 a.m. while 10 a.m. What is the point?
Same here.
Just don't open. Just don't open. What are you doing? So I've missed the boat on that one, so I'm going to have to wait till Monday now. And then, like I said, there was a knock at the door earlier, which I'm pretty sure was the postie, and I'm hoping that my Shizor and my Commander Bakara will have arrived, so I'll be sticking some images up of them in a little bit as well. Thanks for joining us, Kapow. Amazing stream, chaps. So glad I was able to catch this live. Looking forward to catching up on your recent ones. There's a ton to go through. We've done quite a few recently, and we've got 2 more on the way. So there's always some good stuff to look forward to.
Creamy content on the way.
Creamiest of content, lots to rub the Monday to. yeah, so we've got the sequel trilogy wish list is coming up on the 18th of April. I think we've scheduled that for. Is
Something
it the
like
8th? Friday the 18th, if that's right? It's either the 18th or the 19th, because then it is 18th of April is a sequel trilogy wish list. So make sure you stay tuned for that Black Series goodness to be shared. And then on the 19th, we'll be doing another Rise and Shine stream with the Forces with Jesse, because we've got the Power of the Force 2 anniversary celebration, which I'm excited for. I'm so jazzed up for that. Can't wait. And then there's some other stuff in the works as well. And like I said, if that Shizor has turned up, there will be a review following very, very shortly, because I am very excited about that figure. So thank you for joining us, everybody. Dan, cheers for sharing your morning with me, mate. And I will see you on the next one. Until next time, guys. Go on, you do the line.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.
Bye bye.